salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to our 10th episode with regards to a journey that we have been undertaking actually the whole time through our Muslim history, taking a look at Muslim empires and dynasties. I'm Dr. Steph Karis, and I would like you to come with me to explore our Muslim past, our Muslim history, Muslim dynasties and empires, look into the truth of what really happened, in contrast to what people might say due to nationalist movements or due to ideologies that people follow. We have to look into reality and find out what really happened. And it is important not only for what happened in world history, but also for the Muslims, and the other way around, not only for the Muslims, but for world history as well. So I find it extremely important to take a look at an empire which is mainly an Asian one, and it started in Central Asia. Its origin was in Central Asia as shamanist nomads. Again, we have seen others before, but these ones are very important because they are the ones who actually brought Islam to what is nowadays the country of Turkey. So we're talking about the Seljuks. And the Seljuks are a Turkic people, Turkic nomadic tribe coming from Central Asia, as later the Ottomans would come from the same area, basically. So Turkic people, and I'm insisting on calling them Turkic rather than Turkish, as others do, because the Turkish nation exists basically since the existence of Turkey, 1923-24. The country of Turkey did not exist before 1923-24. It was the Ottoman Empire, and the Ottoman Empire was an empire over 3 continents. The nowadays Turks inherited basically the history of the Ottoman Empire, and Turkey, the Republic of Turkey, the modern Republic of Turkey, inherited the history of the people before, the Turkic people before. And one of the most important ones, without a doubt, for Turkish history were and are the Seljuks. As I mentioned, the Seljuks were a nomadic group who embraced Islam quite early, actually, in the 10th century already, 960. And how did this all happen? And I keep having this question, when did the Turks accept Islam, embrace Islam? When did they become Muslim? Now, 10th century, you can basically say, was the time. And how did they accept the faith? Was it due to some conquests, or was it because of some Muslim rulers attacking them or whatever? Not at all. Again, the sword plays no role in their conversion at all. Turkic people accepted Islam because, seeing that they were nomadic people roaming through Central Asia, they came in contact with Sufi sheikhs.
This video is sponsored by the Muqaddimah program.
For nearly 7 centuries, Ibn Khaldun's Muqaddimah has been read and studied by scholars and students of history, sociology, politics and economics as the single most authoritative and astounding work of classical scholarship in the field of history.
Embark on an enlightening educational venture led by Muslim scholars and teachers delving into Islamic history, sociology, economics and beyond. Engage with cutting-edge learning cues and multimedia components, allowing for a deeper understanding of the topics. Distinguish between the lies and the truths of the narratives told, between reliable and unreliable sources. Equip yourself with the skills to conduct deep research and build confidence to combat Islamophobia. Come and strengthen your Muslim identity today. Grab the course in the video description.
And other people, there were shamanists at that time, so there were nomadic people who were polytheists, and they, through their roaming through Central Asia, they came in contact with Sufi sheikhs and with people who spread the Sufi Islam. And this is something that we need to get, again, that's why history is important. Again, we need to understand why nowadays in Turkey, for example, or in many other places in the world, we see that Sufism has become basically the same thing. Like Islam basically is Sufism, Sufism is Islam, and people don't understand the difference. The Sufi tariqas, for example, are basically the different Muslim groups, and if somebody asks you, who are you, they mean actually which group do you belong to. And this is something you can find in Turkey until nowadays, that Turkish people actually look into, if you are practicing Muslim, which tariqah do you belong to. And this has to go back, this goes back to history when these Turkic people accepted the faith, became Muslim because of Sufi sheikhs. So Sufism plays a very important role in Turkey, in Turkic people's lives. The Chaghri Bey and Tughril Bey moved south from present-day Kazakhstan and settled, so Central Asia, and settled in Khorasan, which that time, 10th century, was Ghaznavid territory. And we mentioned the Ghaznavids in the last episode, the city of Ghazna. We mentioned the dynasty of the Ghaznavids at that time, so they moved basically into that area. In 1040, the Battle of Dandanaqan happened, where Tughril Bey becomes the ruler of the Western Great Seljuk Empire, which incorporated countries such as nowadays Iran, Iraq, and part of Eastern Anatolia. Chaghri Bey rules the eastern half of the Asian empire. So these two, basically, Chaghri Bey and Tughril Bey, come to an agreement. The one rules the Western empire, which includes Iran, Iraq, and Eastern Anatolia, and Tughril Bey rules the eastern part of the Asian empire, mashallah. There's a further move towards the west. The Seljuks remove the Shiite Bouyids rulers from Isfahan, which becomes the new Seljuk capital now. So Isfahan, which is nowadays a city, a very important big city in Iran, becomes the Seljuk capital in the 11th century. Tughril Bey reaches Baghdad in the year 1055 and deposes the Bouyids. The Bouyids, during that time, there was a Shia dynasty who attacked the Abbasids in Baghdad, and that was, don't forget, the 11th century we're talking about. So this is like 2 centuries before the whole issue with the Mongols happened. So the Bouyids had already attacked the city of Baghdad that time and had already deposed the Abbasid ruler and had established their own dynasty at that time, which was a Shia dynasty. The Seljuks now come and reinstall Sunni Islam back into Baghdad, okay, and make it a big center for Islam, again for Sunni Islam. The result now for that is northern Syria, Iraq, parts of Iran were united under Sunni rule, okay. The Abbasid Caliph Al-Qaim honors Tughril Bey with the title Sultan. So Tughril Bey accepted the title of Sultan by the Abbasids. You see, again, the Abbasids played an important role during the time of the Muslim empires and development of them, but they also lived a lot from dynasties that actually developed during that time, okay, and they kind of depended on them in a way, okay, and this we saw also in other places where dynasties developed under the Abbasids, some of them accepting, respecting, and tolerating Abbasid rule from Baghdad, some others wanting their own identity and their own rule. In the year 1063, Tughril Bey dies, and Tughril Bey's son Alp Arslan, a famous name, who ruled between 1063 and 1072, became the new ruler. Now, a very important battle that we need to mention happened on the 26th of August, 1071. That was the Battle of Manzikert, which is very famous in Turkey nowadays. Manzikert was called Manzikert before, okay? And in that's eastern Turkey, in that part of Turkey nowadays, Alp Arslan, the valiant lion as he was called, that's his title, fought the Byzantine Diogenes IV. Now, let me say it more in English terms, Diogenes, okay? So it's basically Alp Arslan, the Seljuk ruler, fighting the Byzantine Diogenes IV, okay? And what is significant about this battle is that Alp Arslan's side, the army of Alp Arslan, was not more than 15,000 soldiers, whereas the Byzantines had 60 to 100,000 soldiers on the one side, mainly Arabs, Russians, Georgians, Armenians, and Turkish mercenaries. So again, there we should not think black and white, okay? People were fighting for the other side as well. Arabs, Turks, they were fighting also for the Byzantines, and they were getting paid for it. They were mercenaries. Some foreign mercenaries changed side and joined the other side. Don't forget, mercenaries get paid for it. So they also think of their lives, okay? And some of them changed side. And the Byzantines rejected the peace treaty that was offered to them. What happened in the end, Alp Arslan and his army captured the Byzantine emperor but set him free. His own subjects blinded him, okay, because of his failure basically on the battlefield. Diogenes or the Oyanis, the Byzantine ruler, failed on the battlefield, failed his people, and they blinded him. There was a common punishment actually at that time in the Middle Ages, and during that time it was absolutely common and normal to do that to rulers even who failed. The result of this battle, and this battle again I mentioned is a very important one. As I mentioned, we're not going to get too stuck into battles and dates, but certain things are important. And this battle in 1071, the Battle of Manzikert, has become famous in Turkey and in our history. The result of this battle was what? Islam spread throughout Turkey, through what is called Minor Asia, Asia Minor. Asia Minor is basically the area which is nowadays Turkey, the area of Turkey. The Byzantines were severely hit, and that's in the 11th century still, imagine that. They were not only hit militarily, but also psychologically. Okay, very important point to see. The Seljuks occupied Jerusalem, very important city of course, replacing the Fatimids, replacing the Shi'a Fatimids. Again, the importance of the Turkic people for Sunni Islam has to be seen here. So first the Seljuks and then later the Ottomans. The Ottomans also fought the Shiites in Central Asia, in what is nowadays Iran, in Persia and so on. So we have to see that indeed the Turkic people were a symbol of Sunni Islam without a doubt, and were the protectors of Sunni Islam, again without a doubt, for centuries to come, starting with the Seljuks and finishing off with the last caliphate, the Ottoman Caliphate. During their time, by the way, the time of the Seljuks, that was also the very first crusade, happened in 1095. That was the time when the Pope, the Catholic leader of the Catholic Church, called out for a crusade against the Seljuks, against the Turks as they called them. And that's why I'm adamant on it. We have to distinguish, we have to learn from our history and distinguish between Turks nowadays and Turkic people of that time. The Seljuks were a Turkic tribe, a Turkic people, but for the Catholics they were just Turkish Muslims who were attacking our people in Jerusalem, right? And they were occupying Christian land. So that time the first crusade happened, and the people who were attacked and suffered under the Crusaders mainly were actually the Seljuks and Turkic people as well in the Middle East. And that happened in 1095. Alp Arslan, who ruled between 1063 and 1072, as we mentioned, and his son Malik Shah, who ruled after him 1072 to 1092, were the most important rulers of the Seljuks. And that's why we mentioned, that's why I went a little bit deeper into them. The enemies were who? The Byzantines, the Georgians, the Arabs, the Kurds, the Isma'ili Fatimids, from Palestine with the capital Cairo. The Fatimids had established, by the way, Al-Azhar. I wanted to mention that as well. We did not, in this series, we did not mention the Fatimids yet. That does not mean that they were not important. It's just simply that there are so many dynasties that have to be mentioned. But one of them are the Fatimids, who established the Al-Azhar University as an Ismaili propaganda center. Ismailis were basically a group of the Shiites, and they established the famous university, Al-Azhar University, which nowadays is a Sunni center, or a center for Muslims in the world. That time it was established as an Ismaili propaganda center. The Ismaili Dais had a group, the so-called assassins, who conducted political assassinations. Okay, So that is a very important thing to see, and that happened during that time. Again, if you want to know more, there is so much more to find out, more details about each dynasty and each ruler. Take a look at our website, take a look at the courses that we offer. Jazakum Allah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
For almost 7 centuries, the Muqaddimah has been widely regarded as the earliest and most authoritative and seminal text in the fields of sociology and history, outlining the core principles and methods needed to evaluate and convey history with a more objective and critical eye. Its celebrated author, Ibn Khaldun, pioneered a revolutionary approach to the study of history and is considered by some historians to be one of the most influential thinkers in his field. Now, for the very first time, students of Islamic history will have the rare and unique opportunity to study this monumental and classical work of genius under the tutelage and guidance of experts in the field of research and education. We offer a wide and varied range of learning experiences as part of the program, with options for students to participate in person during our on-site lessons in London or remotely via our private and secured live streaming platform. Classes are delivered on a fortnightly basis, and all students enrolling onto the program shall receive a complete learning resource pack, including coursebooks, timetables, and admission onto the online student portal. The annual program is available to students as a certificate or a diploma package, with varying subjects and module components, as well as a practical assessment unit that will culminate in the launch of student-led history projects and publications, following a panel presentation before a group of assessors. This is a unique opportunity to discover and immerse yourself into the world of Islamic historiography under the tutelage and guidance of experts who will assist you in acquiring the core skills and competencies necessary to conduct your own research and launch your own initiatives. To find out more about the Muqaddimah program or to enlist yourself onto this unique and fantastic learning journey, please visit our website at www.almuqaddimah.com, where you will be able to download our program prospectus, register your interest by submitting an application directly via the online enrollment form.